and welcome back to A Gay in the Life,
where we explore the lived experiences of LGBTQ plus people from all around the world.
because it's only fair.
We're doing this channel to basically give voices to people from communities that we may not have heard from.
Before we launch into telling other LGBTQ plus stories, we wanted to share a little bit of ours first.
I'm Blake. I grew up in a small farm town in Texas that was about an hour and a half outside of Dallas. It was a pretty tight-knit community. You know, everybody knew everyone else in town. Everyone knew everyone else's business, which comes into play a little bit later on in my story.
So I grew up in a split household. My parents divorced when I was 4. And I grew up in Detroit Metro until I was 19. I lived in 5 states before I was 4, so I don't know. I know it's like the development period of life, but I don't know how much consciously I feel influenced. But although my parents were divorced and they lived in separate areas of Michigan, I feel like the one through line was that there wasn't a strong LGBTQ plus representation within the community.
I think the first inkling that I had that I was gay was when I was playing hide and seek with some friends. I was in 2nd grade probably, and I remember hiding with one of my friends who got up and ran away. And as he did, I remember thinking, oh, he's really cute. And that really freaked me out because I knew that it was abnormal, I guess, based on where I grew up anyway. And I ended up kind of crying and just running home because I was scared and I didn't really know what that meant.
Understanding who I was so much more of a struggle because I was living in a heteronormative world and couldn't figure out what these things I was feeling and how I was different was okay. Being with my family, if I did anything that was remotely effeminate or not to their standard of what being a man was, it would be little jokes and jabs about being a girl or what a sissy or the F word. That is really triggering to myself and a lot of gay people.
I think the fact that I was upset whenever I realized that I was different just says a lot about the lack of representation in the community where I grew up.
I decided to come out to my dad on 4th of July and my mom randomly.
When I first decided to come out to my family, my mom specifically, I definitely made sure that I was independent. And I was so independent that I was in college. I was on scholarships. I wasn't really financially dependent on anyone else at the time. And I was actually studying abroad in Italy, 2,500 miles away from home.
So I first came out to my mom when I was about 15, 16 years old. And I sat her down on the bed and I said, "Mom, I have to tell you something." And she was like, "Yeah." And she had just given me like the birds and bees talk. And so I was like, I'm really not going to need the information you're giving me. And so when I eventually told her I was gay, she said, "Yeah, are we still going to the movies?" And I was like, do you care that I'm gay? She was like, "I'm your mother. Of course I know you're gay. I love you. Shut up. Let's go to the movies." And so that was the extent of it. And so then I thought, oh, this is the reaction I'm going to have across the board, which is like not true at all.
When I was in high school, I wasn't out to anyone except for the fact that I was dating a guy. I ended up working at a mall that was about an hour away from my house. I pretty much had to drive 45 minutes, to get to anything that wasn't in a small town. So even to go to the movies at a decent theater, you had to drive 45 minutes. So I started a job at a mall when I was in high school at a clothing store and met a guy there who was also gay. He was a few years older than me. And he was kind of my first experience into the gay world.
When I told my brother, he cried. We haven't spoken in years. And when I told my biological father, I was at a 4th of July party, and I'm not condoning this. It was a lot of self-hatred of why I did this, but I drank a lot of tequila and I ended up telling my dad that I was gay, sobbing, and then he kind of right after that moved to Florida with my stepmom and my little sister. So I blamed myself for a lot of years for that and how difficult it felt feeling like that, like my gay took away my family. So my hope for this channel is I don't want anyone to ever feel that way.
You know, I didn't really have many resources as far as what it was like to be gay in real life. I didn't know anyone personally in my hometown who was gay. I knew that there were some people around because I heard, whispers of that kind of thing, but usually the people who were talking about them in a negative light. So I really didn't know anyone who was gay personally, and I didn't know of anyone who was gay that was spoken about in a positive manner either. So even when I turned to the internet, and this was, I'm 33 years old now. So when I got on the internet and I had my own computer and everything, this would have been around 2000. There really weren't too many resources that spoke to what it was like to be gay, what it was like, what a normal life for a gay person was like. That was something that I just couldn't even fathom at the time. And I think that's one of the reasons that this channel is important to us, because we know that there are people stranded, not just in America and lots of small towns, that may not have access to information or to other gay people and their experiences, or LGBTQ plus people, however it is that they identify. But around the world, the experiences and the cultures and the beliefs and traditions are so different that we would like to, provide this channel for people to have a place to turn to if they might have questions.
Thank you so much for watching this week. If you or anyone you know from around the world has a story to share and something unique to tell, or something heartfelt that they want to communicate to the world, please don't hesitate to tap on the email below.
Really, as different as many of us are, we share so many similarities.
We're all just human and we all want to be loved. Thank you.